Hello, you. It's me. And I, like so many people who live in the Los Angeles area, have been struggling a bit. And I, fortunately, did not have to evacuate so far. But I've been very close to it twice. And it is a complete mess. And realize that not only are people being affected by the fire itself, burning up their homes, burning up their businesses, but also it affects everybody as far as getting food, getting water, which is, a big commodity right now, water, because it's not safe to necessarily use the tap. So you have to be very cautious. And to say that this is a mess is an understatement. To say that this is a tragedy is an understatement. It's unbe-fucking-lievable. It really is. And here's Miss Karen Bass, who, with a smile on her face, was telling everybody, oh, let's stick together. We're the second largest city in the nation, and blah, blah, blah. She said nothing. And more people are calling for her to resign, which I think is probably the best solution. Although, can we get somebody better? Who knows? It's hard to tell right now. Everything is so messed up, so ridiculously crazy, that it's hard. Right now, I think most people are just focusing on, do they have a place to stay? Do they have a place to sleep? Do they have some food to eat? That's really, it's down to the basics right now. And this witch, no, she's a bitch. She's worse than a bitch. She's a see you next Tuesday, in my opinion. She has absolutely no ability to lead, no ability to show some kind of authority, nothing. She just smiles and stays quiet and says, "Oh, we're big and we'll take care of each other." She's ridiculous. That's what she is. She's ridiculous. Now, a lot of the issues with the reservoir and all, that's not her fault. She has only recently come into office, so I can't blame her for that, but she has no leadership skills. She's a dud. And one of the things that I thought of, now this is fantasy land because this is never going to happen, but one of the things that I admired so much about President Trump was that he took $1 for his salary. I think it was like $1 a year because he had to have some kind of salary. But all the $450,000 that he was supposed to get as president, I think that's what it is, he put that back into the system to help us so that we're not so in debt and so that we can really help people who need it and etc. Keep things running smooth. And I always admired him for that. If for nothing else, he didn't take any pay because he didn't need it. He took $1. So, thinking on that, again, in fantasy land, I thought to myself, how could Karen Bass make up for her huge blunders and her disgusting silence? Well, she's got a home. Why doesn't she donate her home and the contents to people that need a home right now? Why doesn't she take her bank account, drain it dry, and give it to the people who right now have nothing? And then she can go spend her time in the hotels like the people who no longer have anything and no home, no nothing. She could go spend her time with them and see what it's like to have to start from the ground up. And honestly, the same goes for Gavin Newsom. He's such a scumbag. The things that are happening are because of his choices, because of what he did. Now, I know Karen Bass did the whole 17 to 20 million off of the fire department, and that is definitely a big blunder. That's something that should never have happened. But it's only 2% of the full budget. So what she did isn't necessarily the worst thing. She put that money towards homeless people or helping the homeless, which, I mean, in California, that does nothing anyway. There's something like $24 billion that have been put into helping the homeless. And guess where that money went? It went into the pockets of the people who were making the plans to help the homeless. It didn't help the homeless. So far, I think they did one building for older people of retirement age who were homeless. It only has 35 apartments to it. And then the new one, I don't know if it's open or not, but really it just looks like a big building that's got a workout center and offices, but those aren't for the people who live there. It sounds just like they made this big expensive building for themselves and nobody's ever going to live in it. They're just going to utilize it. Government, I mean, is just going to utilize it for their own means. It's ridiculous. That's not affordable housing. Just saying. So we know, and Gavin Newsom, when I learned about the reservoir, that it was voted on 14 years ago to rebuild and fix up, and in 2024, Gavin said, oh yeah, it's been 10 years, we're getting really close to it, we should start building by 2025. Is that supposed to be good? 11 years that you were by voters told to do this project because it would be very beneficial for things like what's happening now. Gavin saying, oh, well, we have lots of reservoirs that are full. Did that matter when the firefighters were running out of water and they had to walk away and let people's homes burn to the ground because they didn't have enough water to fight it? Think about that for a moment. Gavin, oh yeah, that's the reason why we're going to do an investigation. You need to be investigated because you're the one who's directly responsible for why these things are happening now. Because of your incompetence, because of your greed and putting everything in your pocket instead of helping the people of not just Los Angeles, but people of California. It's disgusting. I'm not a political person. I don't like politics. But when I see stuff like this, it just ticks me off to no degree. My city is burning to the ground because there wasn't enough water, there wasn't enough resources to fight it. And Gavin says, oh yeah, we'll investigate that. Oh, that's good, Mr. Newsom. Why don't you do something new like, I don't know, help people, for fuck's sake. It's unbelievable. And in Fantasyland, how I see it as well for him is to drain his bank accounts dry to help some of the people who are now left with nothing. Donate his home to somebody who wants to move up to I think he's in Northern California. Donate so that someone else, other people's, other families can use his home, and he can go again, just like Karen Bass, to those shoddy little hotels, motels where people who now have nothing are living. They need to actually experience what it is to have loss, and loss to an incredible degree, the loss of everything. The loss of everything. The only thing you have left is the clothing on your back and hopefully your health. And it's disgusting how these people are acting, how the governor of California is acting and walking back everything. Oh, well, we'll investigate that because, yeah, I like to know that too. I like to know what happens. He knows exactly what happened because he caused it. Him not doing his job, being incompetent, cutting back on things that shouldn't be cut back on so that he can get his pay raises and so that he can put that money in his pocket for himself. That's what happened. It's really despicable to see all these lovely homes being destroyed because there wasn't enough water to fight the flames. I can't believe that. I feel like I'm in a bad dream. Except that I can't wake up. Because when I do, all I see is more smoke in the air, the water is bad, and I struggle to get anything from the store because, not unlike COVID, people are desperate to get stuff, so that they can ensure that they're safe. And that's got to change. But I will say one thing. There are a lot of people who are being affected by the fires or who know people that are being affected by the fires, and they've been very lovely. They've given donations. They've given their time. They've given food, water. The people of Los Angeles, a lot of people will say a lot of nasty things about them, but the people of Los Angeles take care of their own in the best ways possible. I remember during the 94 earthquake, very scary time. We were only out of electricity in my area for about 5 days. But it was a really scary time. And I remember I was driving, I had to stop at a stoplight, and I was right underneath a pass where the freeway is. And I got very nervous because, as we know, or if you don't know, a lot of passes fell during the earthquake. And so I remember feeling a little panicked. And I said kind of out loud, windows in my car were open. And I said, boy, I hope there isn't another earthquake. And people in other cars started laughing and going, oh my God, yeah, that would be terrible right now, wouldn't it? Because we're at a stoplight. And it's that kind of camaraderie. I think it really is here a lot, especially with people like myself who were born in California, raised in LA. When disasters strike, it seems like we really do come together. And it seems like now, during the fires, the government is such bullshit. But the people are really coming together. The people are going out there and doing what they can to help. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it sucks that it takes a disaster of catastrophic measures for people to come together. But it happens. But I'm glad that they do. I'm glad that people care about people. Even if Newsom and Karen Bass don't. But anyway, in my fantasy, they are forced to drain their bank accounts to give to the people that are in need right now. And forced to give their homes to people who are in need right now. And go stay in the little motels, hotels with other people that are struggling so that they can really see what they've done. Will that ever happen? Of course not. But it would be fair. If it did, it would be. I think that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, especially Gavin Newsom, need to step down and resign. We need to put people into power that actually are there for the purpose that they're supposed to represent. The purpose of their jobs is for the people. The governor of California is supposed to do what's right for the people of California. Isn't that a novel idea? But that's what it was set up for. Anyway, I know I don't know a lot about this stuff. I know a little bit. But I do know one thing, and that is that I am angry. I am really, really angry. And something needs to be done. And I hope something is. And my heart goes out to those people. Can you imagine? Oh, excuse me. Could you imagine losing everything? Just terrible. That's all I gotta say.